Love without a cost? Love will save the day. Really? If it doesn't cost them a bit, fine by me. But if they plan to send us the bill, God help them all. The truth, however, is that it is a very catchy quote, and I wouldn't mind hearing it or having them apply it if there wasn't a whole misinformation industry behind it. But first things first, the primary concern is always the after, because whatever any group claims, and these days those groups grow like mushrooms, nothing actually happens in our reality. Even all these philosophical groups with what they present as their goal, they don't refer to now and here, except perhaps from a small part, aiming to form a fairer social framework. And if they claim anything different, just look into it. What they talk about belongs to the realm of the unreal, because knowing yourself, for which they all rend their garments, has another purpose. And to be even more precise, our reality is not determined by 3 dimensions, and time is not the 4th dimension, just because some people want us to be beings of the 4th dimension at all costs. This, according to my opinion, is aiming to open the door of a 5th dimension and have us look for our evolution there. And what could the 5th dimension be? Nothing more than a pun. So they have us going up and down in the scale of dimensions as if we were elevators. And unfortunately, we insist on forgetting the rules of common sense. My personal evaluation is that there is no term more unsuccessful than that of the 5th dimension. You might ask, who cares? Obviously no one. It is a shame, though, because some of those who use the term have something to say, and they lose it in insignificant details. Anyway, we'll talk about this some other time. The one who placed our reality correctly is Carl Jung. He said that humanity must understand that the universe is not characterized by the 3 dimensions of space and time, but by 3 other notions that are space, time, and causality. Now, I cannot swear it is precisely what he said. I was not present, but it sounds pretty accurate to me, and the beyond is not yet another term that will be added to the equation, but just another approach to the notions of space, time, and causality. For me, and just for me, it's all about conscience or consciousness. Personally, I can't clearly distinguish these terms, so we are talking about conscience, and to understand what the frack it means, let's start from the moment the human being is an infant. Is he conscious? Probably not. What happens then to him, and how does the human end up being a conscious creature? This last part is a figure of speech, not precisely valid 100%. I looked into this subject and ended up considering that a correct approach to the problem is the scale of knowledge I found in an old document. And here is what it was written. Man gains the know-how and the skills. How he does that is self-evident. Their combination offers him to experience. Experience on many subjects, or more correctly, from many individual experiences from different themes, when combined, gives him knowledge. Finally, knowledge, through an inward process, becomes conscious. Consciousness ends up being an in-depth and comprehensive knowledge of a subject or a process. And just when you think you are on the right track, the officials come and talk about conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. What have all these to do with knowledge? And who is the one who gains this kind of immense experience? First, let's say that this one has 3 levels of consciousness. According to the experts, one is the conscious level, as well as the others we just mentioned in the previous paragraph. The subconscious deals with all the feelings of a man, and the unconscious has control of all his bodily functions. For the subconscious, the encyclopedia states, without stating, that It is closely linked to the personality of the subject, memory, emotion, complete physical and mental life. The manifestations of the subconscious are sometimes more confident than those of the conscious, because they are always present in everyday life, dreams, memories. It can create pathological conditions and exert a severe influence on human behavior. This can cause mischief, hysteria, ribbing, etc. At this point is where you go baffling. The functions of the two inferior levels, the psychic and the material, are an essential prerequisite for life. So, where can their unconscious function be? Breathing is a senseless act, or is it entirely conscious of the human body? Truth is that I play a bit with words, but I mean well. The body's function is a delicate process, and most of all, flawless. The soul serves the same function. The concepts of subconscious and unconscious intervention have to do with our mental function. For our mental functioning, the processes of the soul and of the body are not entirely clear. And of course, the deeper these functions exist, the less perceptible are for the governor of our logic. And what do the gurus of self-knowledge ask us to do? To stop our mind and feel our soul or our body. And we lay on the armchair or on the grass. The difference is of little importance. And we shout like Archimedes, Eureka. Nope, we didn't Eureka anything. The only thing self can do is to use his conscious state, and with it as his primary assistant, to get into the levels that follow. Do you know how this is called? Expansion of consciousness. Our conscious state steals functions from the subconscious, and thus gains direct control over them. If he can do the same for some unconscious matters, then everything seems to be possible. But in this case, it is not his conscious state that descends into the well of unconscious processes. The self, in that case, wears two expansion uniforms, one above the other, and goes lower. It feels some things. It feels the action of the subconscious in the unconscious, and it does what it knows. It creates images to understand. The descent thus in the space of its breath is the noble descent into a cave where the winds of change are blowing. But our lungs are not caves, and things would be useful if everything stopped at this level. But it's one thing, the intellect self, and something entirely different, the divine spark of our existence. So I propose we take this first step for now, and let's try to understand what exactly is happening with our functions as intelligent beings, and stop swallowing unchewed whatever they serve us. Be careful. Many practices are correct, but don't. We have to understand first what the hell is actually happening. If you agree, good luck with the research. If you disagree, good luck when the time comes.